I had rehearsed the moment 100 times. Every version ended with her smiling, crying, and saying yes. That night was supposed to be perfect, the night I asked Clara to be my forever. The restaurant lights glowed soft gold. The ring in my pocket felt heavier than my heart. I remember whispering to myself, "This is it, Adrian. She's the one." I texted her, "I'm here." She replied, "Almost done. Be there soon." Almost done turned into 40 minutes. The waiter glanced at me like I'd been stood up. I laughed it off. "She's just running late," I said, even though my stomach twisted. Finally, I couldn't sit still. Clara's office was only a few blocks away. I decided to surprise her, maybe walk her here, hold her hand, make it part of the memory. The night air was cold, sharp. My shoes echoed against the pavement as I walked, thinking about how she'd react when she saw the ring. She'll cry, I thought. She always cries when she's happy. Her office building loomed ahead, glass reflecting the city lights. I knew her window, 4th floor, corner. The lights were still on. The receptionist had gone home, so I took the stairs. Each step echoed too loudly. I told myself I was overthinking it. When I reached her floor, I heard laughter. Hers. Soft. Familiar. Followed by a deeper one I didn't recognize. My hand froze on the door handle. Inside, her voice came clearer, "Stop, Ethan, someone might." And then laughter again. I pushed the door open. She was sitting on the edge of her desk, his hands on her waist. Ethan Ward, her boss, the one she said was just a little arrogant but harmless. They both turned. Her eyes went wide. "Adrian?" I didn't move. The ring box burned in my pocket like it was mocking me. Ethan straightened his tie, unfazed. "Guess this isn't what you were expecting," he said. Clara's voice shook. "It's not what it looks like." I almost laughed. "Then tell me what it looks like, Clara." She opened her mouth, but no words came. He smirked. "Maybe we should give you two some privacy." I clenched my fists. "Don't bother. You've already taken what's yours, right?" "Adrian, please," she whispered. "You don't understand." "No, I understand perfectly." I stepped closer, my voice low. "You lied. 4 weeks. All those late nights, the ignored calls, the excuses about deadlines." I shook my head. "I defended you to everyone." Tears filled her eyes. "I didn't mean to hurt you. It just happened. It just happened." I repeated, a bitter laugh escaping. "That's your excuse." She reached for me. "Please, let me explain." I stepped back. "Explain what, Clara?" "That love wasn't enough. That comfort mattered more." Her lips trembled. "You wouldn't understand what it's like." I cut her off. "To be poor. To struggle. You're right. I don't have what he does. But at least I have a conscience." Ethan snorted quietly. "You're overreacting, man. Relationships end." I turned toward him. "No, they don't just end. People end them. With choices. With betrayal." He raised a brow. "Then take it as a lesson. She chose better." The slap left my palm stinging before I realized I'd hit him. He staggered back, shocked. Clara gasped. "Adrian, stop." I stared at my own hand, shaking. "You think I'm angry because she left me?" My voice broke. "I'm angry because I loved someone who never existed." Clara sobbed. "I did love you. I swear I did." I met her eyes. "Then why him?" She hesitated, silent. The pause said everything. I felt something inside me fracture. The silence between us stretched, raw and final. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the ring box. Her eyes widened. "I was going to ask you tonight," I said quietly. "I thought we were forever." Her face crumpled. "Adrian, I placed the box on her desk, beside her trembling hands. "Keep it. It matches your new life." She cried harder. "Please don't go like this." I forced a smile that didn't feel real. "How else should I go, Clara? Should I thank you for showing me who you are?" Ethan stepped forward again, his tone smug. "You done?" I ignored him. My gaze stayed on her. The woman I thought I knew. The woman who shattered me without even realizing how deep she cut. I turned toward the door. Each step felt heavy, final. "Adrian," she whispered behind me, "I'm sorry." I stopped for a second. The words should have meant something. But they didn't. Without looking back, I said softly, "No, Clara. You're not sorry you did it. You're sorry I found out." Then I walked out. The hallway was quiet except for my footsteps. My reflection in the glass looked like a stranger. My chest ached, but no tears came. Outside, the city kept moving, cars, laughter, light. Life didn't stop because mine cracked open. I pulled out my phone. The waiter had texted, "Still waiting for your guest." I typed back, "No. She's not coming." Then I deleted the message before sending it. For a long moment, I stood under the streetlight, staring at the small velvet box still in my hand. No, not in my hand anymore. I'd left it on her desk. But the weight of it remained, invisible, pressing down on my chest. I whispered to no one, she was supposed to be my forever. The night air didn't care. When I finally started walking, I didn't know where I was going. Only that I had to keep moving, away from that building, away from her voice, away from the version of me that still believed love could survive lies. That night didn't just break my heart. It broke the person I used to be. And in the quiet between each step, I realized something painful and clear: my life had ended in that office, and something colder had taken its place. I stopped counting the days after the third one. The light in my apartment didn't change much, it was either too dark or too bright. My phone kept vibrating somewhere under a pile of clothes. I didn't care enough to find it. When Sarah knocked on my door for the first time, I didn't answer. "Adrian, open up," she called. "You can't keep hiding like this." I stared at the wall. "Go home, Sarah. I'm not leaving until you open this door." I sighed and finally turned the handle. She stepped inside, holding a grocery bag. Her nose wrinkled. "God, it smells like death in here." "I'm fine," I muttered. She gave me that look, the one that said she didn't believe a single word. "You've lost weight. When's the last time you ate?" "I don't know." She slammed the bag onto the counter. "You're going to eat something right now." "I'm not hungry." She crossed her arms. "Then sit there and watch me cook. Either way, you're staying alive." I sat at the table, staring at nothing. She moved around the kitchen, the sound of pots and pans filling the silence I didn't know how to break. After a while, she said softly, "Was she really worth all this?" I looked up. "Don't start. She cheated on you, Adrian. You don't owe her your misery." I clenched my jaw. "You think I don't know that?" She sighed, placing a bowl of soup in front of me. "Then act like it." I stared at the steam rising. "You ever love someone so much that breathing without them feels wrong?" "Yeah," she said quietly. "And I learned to breathe anyway." The next day, Marcus showed up uninvited. He didn't knock, he just walked in like he always used to. "You look like hell, man." "Thanks." He dropped onto the couch. "I saw Clara yesterday." My chest tightened. "Why?" Relax. It wasn't planned. She was at that cafe near Fifth. With Ethan. I didn't answer. She looked fine. He hesitated. Actually, more than fine. She moved in with him. I swallowed hard. Good for her. Marcus frowned. She said she hopes you're doing okay. That's funny. Come on, man, she didn't kill you. People move on. I looked at him sharply. You think this is about her moving on? He shrugged. I think you're dragging this too long. Maybe because everything I believed in turned out to be a lie. Marcus leaned forward. Adrian, everyone gets their heart broken. You bounce back. You don't drown in it. I stood up. You don't get it. Then help me understand, he said, frustrated. I gave her everything, I said quietly. My time, my trust, my future. And she traded it for comfort. That word, comfort, it's poison. He looked away. Maybe she just wanted stability. I was stability. I was the one building something real. He stood too. Look, man, you can keep blaming her or start fixing yourself. Your boss called me, said you haven't shown up in a week. You're lucky he hasn't fired you yet. I'll go when I'm ready. Marcus sighed. You say that now, but the world won't wait for you. He left after that, slamming the door harder than necessary. The quiet that followed was heavier than before. I looked around my apartment, empty bottles, piles of clothes, the half-open drawer where the ring used to be. I didn't even realize I'd left it behind. Maybe it belonged there, in that office, with her. That night, I tried to sleep but couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face, the way she looked at me that night, caught between guilt and fear. I whispered into the dark, why wasn't I enough? No answer. Just the hum of the city outside my window. The next morning, Sarah called again. I didn't pick up. Then Daniel's name flashed on the screen, my old boss. I let it ring. Again. Again. Finally, I picked up. Yeah. Adrian, you alive? Barely. Then get your ass back to work. I'm giving you one last chance before I replace you. I'm not ready. You'll never be ready, he said bluntly. But bills don't care. He hung up before I could reply. I sat there for a while, staring at the ceiling. He was right. The world wasn't going to stop because my heart had. When Sarah came again that evening, I was sitting by the window. She set a grocery bag down quietly. You went outside today? Just to get air. That's progress, she said softly. I laughed dryly. Progress feels like drowning slower. She sat beside me. You know, sometimes people leave not because they stop loving us, but because they don't know how to stay. I turned to her. That's supposed to make me feel better. No, she said, meeting my eyes. It's supposed to remind you that their leaving doesn't define your worth. I didn't answer. I didn't know how. The city lights flickered outside, distant and cold. I thought about Clara again, about how easily she'd walked away from everything we built. I wanted to hate her. I really did. But all I could feel was this hollow ache where love used to be. When Sarah left, she hugged me tightly. Don't disappear on me, okay? I'll try, I said. After she was gone, I sat there in silence, listening to the faint ticking of the wall clock. For a moment, I thought I heard Clara's laughter again, faint, cruel, and beautiful all at once. I whispered to myself, you chose comfort. I chose love. Maybe that's why I lost. And for the first time, I realized I wasn't angry at her anymore. I was angry at myself, for believing love meant sacrifice. Get up. Sarah's voice cut through the fog in my head like a blade. I groaned, pulling the blanket over my face. Go away, Sarah. No, she snapped. You've been in this room for 3 weeks. You smell like regret and expired takeout. Get up. I peeked out from under the blanket. You always did have a way with words. She crossed her arms. You think sarcasm hides what you've become? I sat up slowly, the world spinning around me. I'm fine. Liar. She walked over, yanked open the curtains, and sunlight stabbed my eyes. This isn't you, Adrian. You used to fight for things. Now you just rot. I'm just tired, I muttered. You're broken, she said quietly. But you don't have to stay that way. Her words stung more than I expected. I looked at her, really looked at her. Eyes lined with worry, hands clenched around a paper bag. What's in there? I asked. Breakfast. Coffee. And job listings, she said, setting them on my table. I let out a dry laugh. Job listings? Really? Yeah, really. She pulled out her phone and waved it at me. Look. There's an opening at the firm you used to intern at. I already talked to. Sarah, stop. She froze. Stop what? Trying to fix me. My voice cracked. You can't fix something that doesn't even know what it's supposed to be anymore. Her expression softened. Then start figuring it out. I looked away, tracing a crack in the wall. It's not that easy. It's not supposed to be. She picked up her bag. Eat something. Shower. Pretend you still care. When she left, the silence returned, heavy and familiar. I stared at the coffee cup she'd left behind. The smell should have been comforting, but it just reminded me of mornings with Clara, the sound of her laugh, her lipstick on my mug. I pushed it away. I sat there for hours, staring at nothing, until my phone lit up. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, until I heard her voice. Adrian. Every nerve in my body went still. Clara. Hi. Her tone was steady. Too steady. I just wanted to check if you're okay. I didn't speak. Marcus told me you weren't doing well, she continued softly. I'm sorry. For everything. I closed my eyes, gripping the edge of the bed. You're sorry? Yes. I never wanted to hurt you. Then why did you? She hesitated. I don't know. Maybe I wanted more. Maybe I didn't deserve what you gave me. I laughed, cold, bitter. You didn't. I know, she whispered. I hope you can forgive me someday. The calm in her voice made me furious. Like she'd already moved on, like her apology was just another box to tick. I don't think about forgiveness anymore, I said. I think about forgetting. Adrian. I hung up. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was roaring. I stared at the phone for a long time before I hurled it across the room. It hit the wall, screen shattering into 1,000 sharp pieces. The sound echoed like a heartbeat, jagged, alive. For the first time in weeks, I felt something other than numbness. I swept the fragments into my palm, watching the light bounce off them. Each piece reflected a tiny version of me, broken, scattered, but still there. That night, I sat at my desk. The same desk where I used to plan my future with her. The same place that had collected dust since that night. I opened my old journal. The first few pages were filled with promises, love notes, goals, dreams that belonged to someone I didn't recognize anymore. I tore one out. The page ripped loudly, cleanly. Then I turned to a blank one. My pen hovered for a second before the words spilled out, clumsy, raw, honest. I miss who I was before I met her. I paused. Then wrote more. About the silence. The anger. The nights that blurred into one long ache. I didn't write for clarity. I wrote to breathe. Somewhere between the lines, I felt something shift, small, fragile, but real. The next morning, sunlight crept through the cracks again. I didn't hide from it this time. Sarah called. "You alive?" she asked. "Barely," I said. "That's progress." I smiled faintly. "Thanks for the breakfast." "So you ate?" "No. But I threw out the takeout boxes." "Step 1, right?" She laughed softly. "I'll take it." When we hung up, I looked at the journal again. My handwriting was messy, uneven, but it was mine. For the first time since that night, I didn't feel like a ghost in my own life. The ashes were still warm, but something beneath them, something I thought was gone, was starting to breathe again. And maybe, just maybe, so was I. My phone buzzed at an impossible hour. I stared at it, reluctant to look. "Adrian, it's Daniel," the message read. I froze. Daniel. My old boss. The one who used to tell me I had talent worth more than my paycheck. I called him back, hands shaking. "Daniel? It's late." "You sound terrible," he said, his tone sharp but not unkind. "I've been hearing things." "About what happened?" I swallowed. It's fine. I'm fine." "No, you're not. And you're letting it ruin you. Adrian, you were my best designer. Don't waste that talent." I laughed bitterly. "Talent? Look at me. I can't even keep my life together." "That's why I'm calling," he said. "I have a project. Small. Risky. But you can handle it. I know you can." I shook my head, pacing. "I don't know, Daniel. I haven't done anything in months. I can't focus." "Exactly. You need to focus on something other than her. You'll thank her one day, trust me." I froze. "Thank her? For what?" "Stop thinking about her," he said firmly. "Think about you. Think about creating. You know that spark inside you? It's still there. Don't let it die." I laughed again, but this time, it was quieter. "You really believe a project can fix me?" "It won't fix you. It'll remind you you're alive. That's enough for now." I hesitated. My apartment felt suffocating. Every corner reminded me of her. Every shadow carried her laughter. Maybe he was right. "Fine," I said finally. "I'll do it." "Good," he said. "I knew you'd say that. Send me your designs when you're ready." I hung up and stared at the blank wall. My mind raced. Could I really do this? Could I focus, even for a moment, on anything other than her? The first night, I opened my laptop and stared at the screen. Nothing came. "Come on, Adrian," I muttered to myself. "You've done this 100 times. Just start." Hours passed. My pen hovered over paper. My fingers hovered over keys. Every idea felt wrong, every line like a lie. Then I remembered Daniel's words, "Think about creating. Think about you." I typed a single word. Then another. Slowly, ideas began to flow. Shapes, colors, patterns. My hands moved faster than my thoughts. I can do this," I whispered. My apartment filled with sketches and drafts by midnight. For the first time in weeks, I wasn't thinking about Clara. I wasn't thinking about betrayal or comfort or what I had lost. The phone rang. I jumped. "Adrian?" Daniel's voice was careful. "How's it going?" I laughed, a little. "Better than expected. I think I'm getting back into it." That's what I wanted to hear. Listen, don't rush it. But push yourself. Show me what I know you can do. I will, I said, feeling something I hadn't in months: purpose. The next few nights blurred together. I worked late, forgetting to eat, forgetting the world outside my apartment. Each design I finished felt like a small victory. Each completed draft felt like a step away from the man who had cried over her. "You look different," Marcus said when he dropped by unexpectedly. "I am," I said simply, not bothering to explain. He frowned. "What changed?" "Focus," I said. "And pain." "Pain." "Yes." Pain became fuel. Every memory, every betrayal. I use it to create now. He didn't understand, and I didn't care. One night, Daniel called again. "Adrian, I see the progress. Good work. Keep going." I smiled faintly. "Thanks. For believing in me when I didn't believe in myself." "You'll thank her one day," he repeated. I shook my head, a bitter smile on my face. "I don't know if I'll ever thank her." "That's fine," he said calmly. "Just don't let her stop you from moving forward." I hung up and looked around my apartment. Sketches covered the walls. Papers were stacked neatly. The apartment smelled faintly of coffee and determination instead of stale regret. I whispered to myself, this is mine again. It wasn't happiness. Not yet. It wasn't complete. But it was progress. For the first time since she left, I felt the spark inside me, quiet, fragile, but undeniable. It wasn't about Clara anymore. It was about me. I worked into the early hours, letting the pain guide every stroke, every line, every design. My heart still ached, but the ache no longer paralyzed me. It propelled me. "You'll see," I said to the empty room. "I'll be more than this. More than her. More than the betrayal." And for the first time in a long time, I believed it. The night stretched on, but I didn't notice. I only noticed my hands moving, my mind creating, my heart healing in a way I hadn't allowed before. Daniel was right. The spark wasn't gone. It was waiting. Waiting for me to grab it again. And this time, I wasn't letting go. The knock at my door was light, hesitant. I didn't recognize the hour or the nerve it took to come here. "Adrian?" I froze. Her voice, Clara. My heart didn't leap. It didn't even flutter. I opened the door a crack. "Can I help you?" She stepped inside anyway, ignoring the threshold. I need to talk. Please." I leaned against the doorframe. "Talk. I'll listen. That's all." She looked at me, eyes wide, uncertain. I don't know where to start. "Ethan, he's changed. Money, everything. It's not what I thought it would be." I held up a hand. "Stop. I've heard enough about him. I wanted to explain," she whispered. "I made a mistake. I didn't mean." "You didn't mean to hurt me?" I asked softly, almost calm. She hesitated. I thought I was making the right choice. I thought comfort would make me happy." "And did it?" I said, letting the words hang. She shook her head, tears forming. "No. Nothing's like I imagined." I studied her, the familiar curve of her jaw, the way her hands trembled slightly. "You look different," I said. She blinked. I don't know who I am anymore." "Funny," I said quietly, "because you killed who I used to be." Her eyes widened. "Adrian." I shook my head. "No. Don't. I'm not here to fight. I'm here to listen. If that's what you want." She swallowed, tears spilling. I never realized. Realized what? I asked. That you mattered more than I understood. That I lost something I can't get back. I nodded slowly. Yes. You did. She flinched at the truth. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. You don't, I said simply. And I won't give it. Not now. Not ever, maybe. But I'm listening. Her voice cracked. Why are you calm? You should hate me. I did, I admitted. For a long time. I hated what you did. I hated the betrayal. But now. I just feel this strange peace. Like you don't have power over me anymore. I wanted to see if you could, if maybe, she trailed off, unsure. Maybe what? I asked. She looked down. If maybe you'd forgive me. Or care. I smiled faintly, the first genuine smile she'd seen in months. I don't care. And I won't forgive. But I am impressed. You had the courage to face me. That counts for something. Her lips trembled. I thought you'd still be the same Adrian. Broken. Falling apart. Maybe, crying. I shook my head. I did cry. I did fall apart. You didn't see that version anymore. You wouldn't recognize it. I've rebuilt myself, piece by piece. Pain became fuel. Betrayal became focus. And now. I'm standing here. Stronger than before. Yes, stronger, because of you. She covered her mouth, sobbing silently. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. I stepped aside. You already said too much. Just, leave it there. Let it burn in your memory, like it did in mine. I wanted to apologize. I laughed softly. Too late. Not for me. But maybe for yourself. Because now you know the cost of what you chose. Her tears fell faster. I regret it. I nodded. Good. Regret is a powerful teacher. It hits differently when you've lost someone who truly loved you. And I was that person. She shook her head. I didn't know. I thought. You thought comfort was enough, I said firmly. It wasn't. And now you see that clearly. Silence fell between us. Heavy. Bitter. Honest. Finally, she whispered, "You've changed." Yes, I said. I have. Because you killed who I used to be. And I didn't let that kill me too. I built something stronger from the ashes. She collapsed into a chair, sobbing quietly. I wish I could go back. I looked at her. You can't. That's the point. Choices have consequences. You made yours. She nodded, tears staining her cheeks. I understand. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. Good. Let that understanding stay with you. Let it guide you. And never forget the person you hurt. That's the only way you'll learn. She choked on a sob. I will. I promise. I studied her for a long moment. The woman who had once been my world, now nothing more than a lesson. My chest tightened, briefly, sharply, but it passed. You can go now, I said. She looked up, hopeful. Adrian. No, I said. This conversation ends here. Don't come back. Not for me. Not for your guilt. You've done enough. Her head bowed. I'm sorry. I nodded once. Yes. You are. The door closed behind her, soft click. I leaned against it, breathing slowly. The room was quiet, empty. No more her laughter. No more lies. No more poison. For the first time, I felt it, pure, unshakable control over my life. My heart still bore the scars, but my mind was sharp, my spirit fierce. She cried. I didn't. And for the first time in months, I smiled. Adrian, you've been avoiding this long enough, Sarah said, arms crossed. I looked up from my coffee. Avoiding what? Therapy, she said, impatient. Dr. Naomi Ellis. She's not scary. She helps people, people like you. I don't need a stranger telling me how to feel, I muttered. You think you don't, but that's exactly why you do. I sighed, rubbing my face. Fine. 1 session. But only to shut you up. She smiled, triumphant. That's the spirit. I'll make the appointment. The first day, I walked into her office, stiff, defensive. I'm here. Not because I want to be. But Sarah says I should. Dr. Naomi Ellis looked at me calmly. That's fine, Adrian. Let's start there. Why don't you tell me what you feel right now? I crossed my arms. Empty. Angry. Tired. Pick one. She nodded slowly. All of them can exist at once. You don't have to choose. I frowned. Great. Therapy math. Just what I needed. She smiled lightly. It's not math. It's perspective. Perspective, I echoed. Sure. That'll fix months of betrayal. Not fix, she said softly. Understand. Heal. Move forward. I looked away. Forward? What's forward when the person who broke you doesn't even notice? She doesn't matter anymore, she said firmly. I blinked. Excuse me. Clara doesn't matter anymore. Not to your growth, not to your future. What matters is you, and what you choose to do with this pain. I stared at her, words stuck in my throat. No one had said that so directly. You're angry, she continued. That's natural. But forgiveness isn't for her. It's for you. To stop letting her control your emotions. I shifted in my chair. Forgiveness? I don't want to forgive her. You don't have to act on it, she said. Just see it. Acknowledge that holding on to her hurt doesn't protect you, it traps you. I frowned. Traps me? Yes. You've been living in that office, that night, that betrayal, over and over. Every thought about her is a mirror reflecting the fear of losing comfort, love, acceptance. But that's not you anymore. I let the words sink in. Slowly, I felt a strange weight lift. Then, what now? I asked quietly. Now, she said, you build yourself. You decide who Adrian is without her defining the boundaries. Without Ethan, without guilt, without regret holding you back. I swallowed. Feels strange, seeing it like that. It will, she said gently. Change always does. Weeks passed. I dreaded each session, but I went. And with every hour, every conversation, I began to confront things I'd buried, not just Clara's betrayal, but my own fears, my own weaknesses. One day, she asked, who do you see when you look in the mirror, Adrian? I stared at my reflection, pale, tired, but sharper, stronger. Someone who's been broken, I admitted. But, not defeated. Exactly. She smiled. That's your power. Not avoiding pain, not pretending it doesn't exist. But looking at it, acknowledging it, and deciding it doesn't control you. I leaned back, thinking about her, Clara. And then about Ethan. I'd heard rumors. Scandals. Investigations. His company under fire. The man who thought comfort and wealth were everything, unraveling quietly. I didn't feel joy. Not gloating. Just, calm. Detached. Karma didn't need me, it had caught up to him on its own. Sarah called that night. So. How was the session? I chuckled softly. Hard. But, helpful. You're smiling, she said suspiciously. Not at her, I said. At me. I'm starting to see myself again. Not as someone who lost, but as someone who survived. Learned. Grew. She laughed softly. Finally. I thought I'd have to drag you into a fire to get you here. Maybe you did, I admitted. Later, I stood in front of my bathroom mirror, brushing my teeth. I studied my reflection, the same sharp jaw, the same tired eyes, but something deeper now. A steadiness. A quiet strength. Adrian, I whispered to myself, this is you. Not her. Not him. You. I smiled faintly. Not arrogance. Not relief. Just, recognition. In the weeks that followed, I felt it more often, a clarity I hadn't had in months. The ghosts of Clara, Ethan, the betrayal, the heartbreak, they didn't vanish entirely. But they no longer dictated my thoughts, my choices, my life. And for the first time, I realized that healing wasn't about erasing the past. It was about looking at it, seeing the truth, and deciding who I would be going forward. Dr. Naomi Ellis had shown me that mirrors reflect more than appearances. They reflect choices, strength, and growth. And for the first time in a long time, I was ready to face myself. My phone buzzed again, a sharp vibration that made me flinch. Adrian, the voice on the other end was warm, professional, urgent. Who is this? I asked cautiously. Lydia Marks. I'm a journalist. I want to feature your story. From heartbreak to rebuilding. Your journey, people need to hear it. I laughed dryly. People need to hear about a guy who got dumped. No, she said firmly. People need to hear about someone who survived, who transformed pain into purpose. That's rare. That's inspiring. I hesitated. I don't know, Lydia. I'm private. I don't like people knowing my life. You've been through hell, Adrian. And yet, here you are. This could help others, show them they're not alone. I stayed silent, staring at the ceiling. Could I really do it? Could I expose my scars to the world? You don't have to answer now, she said softly. Think about it. I swallowed. Fine. Send me the details. The next day, we met. She sat across from me, notebook open, eyes attentive. So, she said gently, tell me what it felt like the night everything broke. I took a deep breath. I thought I'd be proposing. I saved for months. I thought, love meant sacrifice. And then. I walked in and saw her with him. She prompted. Clara, I said, voice tight. The woman I trusted more than anyone. And in that moment, I died a little inside. She nodded, scribbling notes. And the aftermath? I stopped showing up at work. Ignored everyone. I drowned in my own thoughts. My sister, friends, Marcus, everyone tried to reach me. I wasn't ready. I didn't want to be ready. Then what changed? I hesitated. Daniel. My old boss. He reminded me of who I was. That I had talent. He gave me a small project. I almost said no, but something stirred. I started working again. Pain became fuel. Every late night, every design, I rebuilt myself. Was it hard? She asked. Every day, I admitted. Some nights, I thought about her. About Ethan. But I realized, karma doesn't need my help. I just had to focus on me. And your healing? I shrugged. Therapy helped. Naomi Ellis. She showed me forgiveness wasn't for her. It was for me. That was the turning point. Seeing Clara as a reflection of what I feared losing, comfort, love, acceptance, that perspective changed everything. She smiled. You're brave to share this, Adrian. I don't feel brave, I said. I feel alive. And maybe that's the same thing. The article went live a week later. I tried not to check my phone, tried not to measure validation. But when I finally did, the numbers made my head spin, thousands, tens of thousands, sharing, commenting, connecting with my story. People understood. People felt it. Then, late one night, the phone rang. Unknown number. I hesitated. Adrian? Her voice, soft, almost fragile. Clara, I said quietly. You made it, she whispered. I stayed silent, letting her words hang. Your designs, your life, it's all impressive. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. No, I said finally. I survived. There was a pause. I could hear her breathing. Survived? Yes, I said again. Survived. Not because of anyone else. Not because of luck. I survived because I chose to. I rebuilt. I reclaimed myself. I didn't need you to validate it. She trembled. I never realized. I thought. You thought comfort was enough, I said firmly. It wasn't. And now you know the cost. Her voice cracked. I regret it. I can't believe how far you've come. Good, I said softly. Regret is a teacher. It hits differently when you've lost someone who truly cared. She was silent. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, I said. Just remember this, you had your chance. You lost it. That's on you. My life is no longer defined by you or your choices. Tears slipped down her cheeks. You're incredible. I'm me, I said, because I survived. Not because of praise, not because of recognition, not because of revenge. I survived. And that's heavier than any victory. She whispered, almost to herself, I envy you. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. The envy, the regret, the recognition, all of it was hers. Not mine. After the call, I stared at my reflection in the window. City lights reflected back, fractured and bright. I thought of the months I'd spent rebuilding. The late nights, the sketches, the therapy sessions, the quiet victories. You're alive, Adrian, I whispered to myself. Stronger, smarter, unbroken. I looked at my designs pinned on the walls. People connected with them, resonated with my story. The pain that had once almost killed me had become power, shared, felt, understood. Lydia called again, asking for a follow-up interview. I agreed. Not because I wanted praise, but because I wanted to remind people, including myself, that survival is its own triumph. I leaned back in my chair, letting the night sink in. Clara's voice, her envy, her regret, they were echoes now, shadows in the background. I had transformed them into strength. I whispered one last time, quietly, firmly, to the empty room, I didn't just survive. I rose. And for the first time, the word survived felt heavier than any victory, more powerful than any praise. The cafe smelled faintly of coffee and pastries. I walked past it every morning now, mostly ignoring the memories that clung to the corners. She's here, Marcus whispered one morning. I raised an eyebrow. Who? Clara, he said quietly. I saw her through the window. I nodded, barely acknowledging it. And she's working. Waitressing, I think. I shrugged. Good for her. Marcus frowned. You don't care. Why would I? I asked, voice calm. The person she was doesn't exist anymore. And frankly, I stopped caring the day I decided to live for myself. Later that evening, Sarah and I sat on the balcony of my small apartment, city lights stretching endlessly before us. Are you happy? She asked suddenly. I let the question hang. I watched the skyline, the same city that once felt like a cage, suffocating me with memories of betrayal and loss. Not happy, I said finally. But free. She tilted her head. Free. Yes, I said, leaning back. Free from her. Free from Ethan. Free from the version of me that cried over people who didn't deserve me. I survived, Sarah. And surviving, that's my power now. She smiled softly. You've really changed. I had to, I said. There was no other choice. Pain can kill you, or it can teach you. I chose to learn. You look different, she said. Sharper. Stronger. I laughed lightly. Sharper, yes. Stronger, maybe. But also, calmer. I used to carry anger like armor. Now it's just awareness. Awareness? She asked. Knowing I can handle whatever comes, I said. Knowing that betrayal doesn't define me. Knowing that I can build something lasting, something mine, without anyone else dictating it. Her eyes softened. Your designs, your firm, are you really going to do it? I nodded. Yes. I've saved, planned, and prepared. It's time. Time to create on my terms. You're brave, she said quietly. Maybe, I said. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid. A memory flashed, Clara laughing, Ethan's smug grin, the way my heart had shattered. I let it pass. No anger. No longing. Just recognition of the past. Do you ever think about them? Sarah asked. Sometimes, I admitted. I walk past the cafe, I see her. And I think of the boy I was, the one who loved too much, too blindly. But I don't stop. I don't go back. I keep moving forward. You've really rebuilt yourself, she said. I had to, I replied. For me, not anyone else. Every late night, every design, every therapy session, every moment I chose myself, that's what brought me here. A soft breeze drifted across the balcony, and I inhaled, letting it fill my lungs. Freedom didn't feel loud. It felt subtle, steady, permanent. Do you regret anything? She asked. I shook my head. Regret isn't mine. It belongs to her, Ethan, anyone who lost sight of what mattered. I only have lessons, Sarah. Lessons and power. She smiled, proud, protective. I'm glad you're mine again. Even if you don't need me like before. I reached over and touched her hand. I'll always need you, I said. Just differently now. You're my anchor, my clarity, my reality check. The city lights flickered, reflecting in the glass in front of us. I thought of the designs pinned to my walls, the sketches still in my bag, the concepts I had yet to create. I thought of the clients who trusted me, the articles that told my story, and the people who reached out, inspired by a man who survived. You're ready, Sarah whispered. Yes, I said. Ready to build. Ready to create. Ready to live without looking back. We sat in silence for a while, watching the skyline, the same city that once felt like a prison now opening with possibilities. The wind carried faint sounds from the street below, footsteps, laughter, distant cars. Life was happening, as messy and fleeting as ever. And I was here, part of it, unbroken. Do you think she's happy? Sarah asked softly, nodding toward the cafe down the street. I don't know, I admitted. And I don't care. Her happiness doesn't define me anymore. Mine does. A subtle smile curved my lips. And mine is real. Hard-earned. Powerful. Free. Sarah laughed quietly. It suits you. I leaned back, letting the breeze brush my face. It does. Finally, it does. The city stretched before me, endless lights, endless stories. Mine had scars, yes, but it also had triumph. My past no longer haunted me, it had shaped me. Stronger, clearer, alive. I survived, I whispered to myself, one final time. And surviving, this is freedom. Sarah squeezed my hand. To your future, Adrian. To my future, I echoed, eyes bright, heart steady. The skyline felt like home now, not a cage, but a canvas. And for the first time, I realized that freedom wasn't about revenge, or happiness, or love regained. Freedom was me. Alone, whole, alive. The letter came on an ordinary Tuesday. I didn't recognize the handwriting at first. Adrian, it began. I paused, chest tightening. You once loved me, I read aloud softly, and I failed you. I broke what shouldn't have been broken. I'm sorry. Truly. I hope you find happiness, strength, and peace. I wish you well. I set the letter down and stared at it, letting the words echo in the quiet apartment. You're apologizing now? I muttered to myself. After everything, you remember me? A part of me wanted to crumple it, burn it, throw it away like every reminder of her. But I didn't. I picked up my journal, worn and filled with scribbled thoughts, sketches, and tears. I had started writing in it the night I smashed my phone, when the first thread of me returned. I placed the letter between the pages. Here, I whispered. You belong with the story, not my life. Sarah peeked in, tilting her head. Everything okay? I smiled faintly. Better than okay. It's closure. Not for her, for me. She nodded slowly. You're at peace. I am, I said. Because I realized something. Pain doesn't vanish. It transforms. And I've turned mine into power. You sound different, she said, voice soft, almost reverent. Stronger, I admitted. Wiser. Not numb, not broken. Just, alive in a way I never was before. I closed the journal gently, fingertips lingering on the leather. Every line, every word inside told a story, of heartbreak, despair, anger, and finally, rebirth. Do you ever think of her? Sarah asked quietly. Sometimes, I said. But not like I used to. She was the spark that burned me down, but also the fuel that built me back up. My focus, my drive, my peace, it's all because of what I endured. I didn't just survive, Sarah. I became stronger than I ever imagined. And the letter? I held it lightly. It's a reminder. That even betrayal, even heartbreak, can be transformed. That pain can become power. And now, it has. For me. Forever. I set the journal on the table, sunlight catching the edge of the leather. For the first time, truly, I felt it, complete. Not triumphant, not vengeful, not hollow, just unshakably, undeniably me. Pain had visited. I had invited it in. And I had mastered it.